All right, here we go. It's a new month of Jazz Piano Skills. New month always means what? A new tune. And this month we are tackling the 1941 classic Tangerine. And with every tune, right, we do a 3-week study. We break that study apart by looking at it harmonically, we look at it melodically, and we look at the tune improvisationally. So we just completed our first week of study of Tangerine. So we completed our harmonic analysis, and with every harmonic analysis, we take a very skill-centric approach. As always, I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second, but the skills that we look at when we do a harmonic analysis, we look at the form of the piece. We look at the unique chord changes found within the piece. We do a harmonic function analysis of the chord progression. We look at the common harmonic movement found within the chord progression. And then, of course, we look at our voicings, our traditional block voicings and inversions, our traditional left-hand shells, our contemporary left-hand shells, and, of course, our two-handed structures. So I mentioned skill-centric because that's what tunes require us to be. Tunes require us to have a command of our essential skills, because without those skills under our hands, guess what? We're not going to be playing tunes. It's just that simple. So very skill-centric approach, not just to our harmonic analysis, but also with our melodic analysis that we'll do this upcoming week. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, we tackle improvisation. So I also mentioned, along with the importance of being skill-centric in everything we do, I also mentioned that you need to be able to place those skills within the context or within the framework of the 7 facts of music, what I call the 7 facts of music. And the 7 facts of music is understanding the 7 facts of music is your way of being able to affirm that you have a strong conceptual understanding of music. It's your conceptual understanding that drives your physical development. So what are the 7 facts of music? Fact number 1, music is the production of sound in silence. That's what we do. Fact number 2, when producing sound, we can either produce it harmonically or we can produce it melodically. That's it. Okay? Fact number 3, when producing sound harmonically, we're playing chords, we're playing voicings. Fact number 4, when producing sound melodically, we're playing arpeggios and scales. Fact number 5, when playing scales and arpeggios, we can only move in one of 2 directions, up or down. Fact number 6, to camouflage or decorate our arpeggios and scales, we use tension or notes outside the harmony or chromaticism, right? And then finally, fact number 7, to make facts 1 through 6 interesting, we add rhythm. So everything we do, harmonically, melodically, improvisationally, we should be seeing it within that architectural structure of music, that framework, the 7 facts of music. So again, I mention it, I know, every week with every tune that we're studying, but it's that important, okay? Now, this last week, our question of the week was from Dina in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and she had asked the question about connecting chords smoothly, right? She's learning her chords, she's playing lead sheets, but she had difficulty connecting those chords. Or she said, I think her exact phrase was, I play the chords, however, they don't sound smooth and connected. That was it, smooth and connected. So in the podcast episode, I addressed that question of the week and encouraged Dina to really get a command of her inversions. And I walked through in the podcast, if you haven't checked it out, you may want to. I walked through 4 various ways to approach the 2-5-1 progression in such a way that you're utilizing inversions, which will then create a smooth and connected sound. So it was a great question. It's a question that, quite honestly, we all have to deal with at sometime during our jazz development as pianists. We have to address that, jump that hurdle to be able to utilize inversions when playing chords in order to create that smooth and connected sound. So if you haven't checked out the podcast episode that was released on Tuesday, I certainly would encourage you to do that. And of course, you can listen to the podcast episode at jazzpianoskillspodcast.com or any of the podcast directories, right? iHeartRadio, Amazon, Apple, Google. Jazz Piano Skills is published on all the main podcast directories. So, okay, so I already mentioned that the skills that we took a look at that are in your podcast packets, in the lead sheets that I presented to you in Tangerine, looked at the form, the unique chord changes, harmonic function, common harmonic movement, and all of the voicings, okay? So I want to encourage everyone, depending upon where you are in your jazz journey, when we tackle these tunes, you do not need to feel as if you need to apply these skills over the entire form of the piece. Quite honestly, if depending on where you are in your jazz journey, if it was 8 measures, you could work on all the skills that I present in the podcast. You can work on those skills utilizing just 8 measures, or even 4 measures, 2 measures, right? So it doesn't have to be the entire tune. You can make great progress taking whatever tune we're studying during the month and working on just a section of that tune, and then applying the skills that we are studying for that week, our harmonic skills, right? So our voicings and progressions and so forth. Now, the form of Tangerine, it's kind of as I mentioned in the podcast, our standard forms are AABA or ABAC. Let me try that again. Standard forms, AABA or ABAB. This form for Tangerine, ABAC. So it's a little different twist than what we're typically used to or presented with in the Great American Songbook. But ABAC is very common as well. So it's important to get familiar with that form and comfortable with that form. Okay? I would also encourage you to log into the Jazz Piano Skills community and check out the listening list. It is fabulous, right? Because the very first thing I do when studying any tune is I do a ton of listening to not just pianists, but instrumentalists, vocalists, absolutely vocalists, and it doesn't matter what genre of music, and it doesn't matter professional musician or amateur musician. If somebody's playing Tangerine, I want to check it out. I want to listen to it because it's going to have a profound impact eventually on my treatment of that tune as well. Okay? So, in your illustrations packet, there are a couple worksheets that help you with your harmonic function and your lead sheet. In other words, being able to see or think the opposite of what you see. I talk about that in the podcast. Looking at a lead sheet, being able to see the chord changes but think harmonic function, or being able to look at a harmonic function lead sheet and see the chord changes, right? So you'll find those worksheets in the illustrations packet. Be sure to utilize them, test your skills, develop that skill, right? So very, very important. In the backing tracks that are included in your podcast packets, the play-alongs, several different tempos to practice Tangerine. I think it's 100 to 160, several backing tracks to choose from. So whatever you're comfortable with, they're available. I would encourage you to utilize those backing tracks so that you're placing the skills, you're placing the chords, the changes, the voicings, you're placing all of the skills that we're working on within a musical context, within a musical setting. Very, very important. And encourage you to use those backing tracks too as well, because you're developing time. Something a teacher, I can't teach you time. A teacher cannot teach you time. You have to experience time in order to develop time. And in the old days, the only ways we could experience time was go to the jam session. A lot of embarrassing moments, but that's how we had to do it. Now with technology, it's great because you can actually experience time in the confines of your home and have your embarrassing moments in the privacy of your home, okay? So again, another reason why you should be using backing tracks to develop your skills, because you are at the same time developing your internal sense of time. Okay? So look, that's a lot of harmonic work to do for this week. As I mentioned, we're going to start our melodic analysis on week 2, this upcoming week. Also, I just released the blog yesterday. Check that out at jazzpianoskills.com as well. That blog is a nice summary of our harmonic analysis that we did this week. And then, of course, the quick tip this week was released on Wednesday on YouTube. Check that out at the Jazz Piano Skills YouTube channel. And then also there was a harmonic challenge that was released on YouTube as well at the Jazz Piano Skills YouTube channel. So a lot of different resources to tap into this week as you tackle the 1941 standard Tangerine and develop your harmonic skills, right? Never a dull moment. So wrap up any loose ends that you have and get ready for Tuesday when I release the next episode of the Jazz Piano Skills podcast, which will be a melodic analysis of this great standard. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free, as always, to reach out to me through the contact form at jazzpianoskills.com, or feel free to call me here at the Dallas School of Music. The number here is 972-380-8050. Feel free to give me a shout. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have or help you in any way that I can. So, all right, it's time to get busy. It's time to discover, learn, and play Tangerine. Wrap up the harmonic analysis. I'll see you Tuesday as we start the melodic analysis. Have a great day.